Man, I am so excited to be here, bro. I am so excited. Let me start by sharing, making sure we're getting this thing locked in the right way. Tell me, boys, if you can see me okay. How am I looking? Am I in?
You're good to go, bro. Looking
Let's
good.
go. Let's go. Guys, my name is John Majak. I am so excited, humbled to be here with you guys. Now, it's no accident that you're here today. I have to kind of put that out before we get rocking and rolling. I'm a big believer in everything happens exactly like it's supposed to, and there are no accidents. You could be anywhere else in the world. You could be in your truck right now. You could be in your office. You could be taking your kids to school, anywhere, but you're locked in. So grateful. I promise to over deliver in every single way. So, guys, let's get rocking and rolling. It is time to lift off and land into your best year in business. So follow me right here. Right now is the time to lift off. Right now is the time to take your whole life to a whole different level. But I have to be honest with you. The reason I can speak with so much heart from on this issue is because truthfully, I almost lost it all years ago. But know that the average male only lives to 75 in the US. The average female only lives to 77. Guys, I did my research. When it's all said and done, the average home service business owner ranges from 25 to 65. So let's call this person 45 to be safe. If the average person that owns a home service business is around 45 years old, and you can round out 70 about to 77, you're looking at 30 years, give or take, of your life. That's what you have. Some people have more, some people have less, a little bit less, but at the end of the day, your time is limited, my friends. So no matter what, there's a reason I have an hourglass back here. Because I always want to be mindful to not take anything for granted, and I want you to show up as well. A little bit about myself. So I've been in the home service business my entire life. If you've been in the home service business for a long time, drop the word home service in the comments. I want to see some people starting to fire off. I want to know that this is my tribe because at the end of the day, I have been in the home service business since I've been 15. Knocking on doors, cutting lawns, you name it, that was me. It eventually led me to about 10 failed businesses where each one was worse than the next until eventually I struck. And I built up a business called Power Clean. And that business was built to seven figures about 15 years ago. I built that business up before pressure washing was really even an industry. We sold it off. And after I sold it, I started Mr. Pipeline. Now, I had no intentions on starting Mr. Pipeline. It's so important that you know this, that at the end of the day, how you're here today, I look at it like a chain link fence. If you're here today on this call, there's a high chance that you're going to do something that you took today and continue to build off of it and build off of it. And that those links eventually connect to the end goal. You see, this is how this happened for me because all those links, all those chain links that I had, all those failed businesses led me to one that succeeded. And then that one that succeeded built into something really special. But the cool part about this whole journey is I had no experience in marketing, no experience in really helping other people succeed, but my links kept getting built. And after I sold Power Clean, somebody came up and said, "Hey, John, can you help me market my business?" Before you know it, one person led to two people, to five, to 10. Now we have north of 500 clients in the home service space. It's a complete honor. But one thing I can tell you for sure is it's all I'm doing is God's hands at work. All I'm doing is being God's hands and feet here on this earth. The minute you operate from that space and realize how precious that your life is, and you realize that this is just a privilege and you do it for good, you become beyond blessed. But when you do everything internally, it's a struggle. So don't lose your faith. Let that be your anchor as you drive forward. Now, Mr. Pipeline eventually led me to being a Conquer coach with the incredible Brandon Vaughn. And I was a Conquer coach for a little north of 3 or 4 years. I loved every minute of it. I learned so much. I helped build and scale businesses left and right from zero to seven and eight figures. And it's crazy because all of these things had the same theme that I did the things that I was uncomfortable with. I eventually started a mastermind that did very well and did a trade show and things that like I had no intention on doing, but I followed my heart and I kept putting one foot in front of the other. Now, it's so important that you know a little bit about who I am from a professional standpoint. But the reason that I want you to be locked in right now is because of all of the pain and hell that I've been through in my personal life. I've achieved a lot in professional. Several businesses that hit seven figures, one's about to hit eight figures. It's a blessing. But I'm telling you right now, none of that, any of this will be possible unless I was locked in from from a personal standpoint. You see, my life was really, really tough. And a lot of us have really challenging lives. Not every one of us comes from a silver spoon or from a lot of money. Some of us start from the trenches. If that's you, drop the word trenches. I want to know. I want to see you. I want to know that you're hearing exactly what I'm saying and that you're catching this message. You know, at 3 years old, I was abandoned. I lost my father. My father left me behind. Eventually, I ended up losing my mother. She actually left as well through a different reason. Drugs, abuse, stuff happens. Crazy things happen. As I started to become 12, 13 years old and I was raising myself, I got almost abducted and I was in the national headlines. And they found the person that was trying to get me with a knife and a shovel and a rope and all sorts of crazy stuff in his truck. And when they sat me down in the police station, they said, "Son, you're lucky to be here. You just escaped a convicted, you know what, kidnapper, and he has a history, and he had it out for you." Now imagine that, being that young, that locked in, and trying to figure out my life by myself, nonetheless. And at the end of the day, I ended up kind of growing out of that pain. I ended up growing out and making it through. But I'll tell you what, that pain lived in me, and it still lives in me. Just like all of you. I know so many of you on this call today have so much pain locked in from their childhood. But as I started to outgrow a lot of this stuff and I started to really take that pain and turn it into purpose, I almost lost my wife when I got married. She got really sick and I almost lost her. You know, funny thing happens. If you want to make a knife as super sharp and durable as possible, it has to be forged in the fire. It needs to be put in to that fire, banged out, pulled out, sharpened, put back in, banged out until it doesn't stop. And then there's a moment where it's not in pain anymore, where it's not being hit. But for a long time, it's being pulled out of the fire, thinking it can breathe, and it's getting smashed down again. Well, that had my smash down moment again when I got older. And I almost lost my wife. But the craziest part is, I spent 15 months of my life in a suicidal trance, in a place that nobody should be. Imagine that. You see people on the front end, you see the highlights, you see all of this stuff that you see on Facebook and social media, but it's just a facade. Everybody's got their authentic self. When they wake up and go to sleep, that's who they are. You see, I spent this time in the darkest moments of my life trying to end it all, when technically I was succeeding. And I'll tell you what, the reason I'm here today is because on that eighth time, where it was almost all over, I was in my truck and it was raining and it was pouring and I just knew it. This was the way I could do it. I already gave my mom and dad the letters. I left a letter for my wife. I realized I needed to be in the truck because I didn't want anybody to find me. Imagine, I thought through it all. Sat down with my best friend, told him goodbye, love him more than anything. And then it was the perfect scenario. But I'll tell you what, at the last second, the very last second, that rain shut off. And I felt this overwhelming feeling of love. And I felt this overwhelming feeling that you can only describe at your very last second of breath. Guys, that's why I'm here right now. Because there's somebody listening to this. There's somebody that knows that level of pain. It may be you. It may be a family member. It may be somebody in your office. It may be somebody that you just know. Your job is to show up. You know, at that last second, I never thought of my purpose in life. Ever. I just did business. I tried to get out of being in a struggle. But it was in that moment where I walked out of that truck so grateful and I knew exactly what my purpose was in one sentence. So if you've been struggling to find your why or your purpose, let me tell you mine. Hopefully it inspires you. Mine was to show up for God, show up for myself because I never did, and show up for the ones I love most, to be a force for good in their life. That's me. But I'll tell you what, the theme is to show up. You're here today. You're showing up. If you're in pain, it's okay. But the time is limited. Remember, you only have a certain amount of time. You shouldn't live in pain forever. Guys, if you're with me, let me know you're with me. Drop Liftoff in the comments. If this hits you, drop Liftoff in the comments. And it's an honor to be here to share so much more with you now. I say it with intention that you have to lift off like your life depends on it, because in so many ways it does. Time won't wait for you. I promise you that. It will continue to click on and move on, and that hourglass will run out on you, my friends. So here's how you define what matters to you. I've come to break it down in these certain few ways. You know, for me, what does a record-breaking year mean to me? It used to mean multiple millions. It used to mean just how can I get bigger revenue numbers? Then I started realizing that there's more to life, that there's a lot more to this grand scheme. And that's why I suggest you take it and run with it. Don't just be a 7-figure earner. Hey, you may want to be an 8 and 9-figure earner. That's wonderful and more power to you. But I'm telling you, there's balance in life. I was lost when I was just chasing the money. I was found when I realized that I actually have to start showing up for myself, for God, the ones I love most. And who is that? That's my wife. That's my son. That's my friends and family. And that's for you guys here today. So define what that means. Don't you want to be that person who can not just be the husband or wife that comes home in and out on autopilot? Do you want to be the one with intention that creates fun and love and a special place? Well, that's a 7-figure husband or wife. Do you want to be the father that helps, or the wife or the mother? Do you want to be that person? Well, you have to define it and then move on it, because you'll never be that unless you set your intention on. I'm telling you, the secret to everything is defining your personal before business. Once your personal's locked in, everything changes. You know, right in front of me, I have an exact list of everything that I want to accomplish in my personal life. I know my 3, 5, and 10-year goals. Once I started seeing that vision, things started to attach themselves to that vision. You see, your thoughts become things, but if your thoughts are all over the place, so will you. You'll be everywhere. Attach it to what matters. Be very focused on that. You have to have no excuses as you drive your business forward, as you drive your life forward. So I'm really, really big on simplifying things because life is so complicated as it is. Here's what I want to tell you. If you can dial into your faith, to your family, your fitness, your finances, and your fun, those 5 F's, you are one step closer to having that record-breaking year. Telling you, this is the secret. Grow in your faith. Don't just say you want to believe, like whatever that is. If it's the universe, God, Jesus, whatever it is for you, define that and march towards what is going to help you level up. Same goes with faith, or fitness, finance, and fun. Guys, and I can't stress this enough. I'm going to take a left here and give you some information that is going to set you free. It's putting systems in your life for fun. This sounds so silly, but I just did this quick printout for you guys so you could see. Build your fun system. You as an entrepreneur are grinding day in and day out. But if you put systems in your life to remove chaos, build one that has built on vacations and adventure. Scan this QR code, take this sheet, fill it out, and basically just put something in every Friday of the year. Before you know it, you are on fire. You're talking to somebody, all they did was work, put a system in there to solve the chaos. We stick to the system. Life couldn't be any better from that perspective. Remember this forever, that you're one decision away from a completely different life. If you just integrate some of these little things I'm telling you now, you're one more step closer to that record-breaking year. Now, if you're with me, let me know that you're with me right now. Drop Liftoff in the comments. I want to make sure that you are completely engaged and that I'm delivering for you. Guys, remember this. If you need help on getting out of your own head, take this very simple strategy that I use almost every day of my life. You see, I was up the entire night. I had a really challenging night. My son is on the spectrum. He's been giving me a ton of different challenges than I've ever faced. And I've been through a lot, remember. That pain, I use it for a lot. Well, you know what? If you're catching the extra passion today, it's because I'm using all of the stuff that I went through yesterday and the last couple of weeks and last night, and I'm giving it, I'm pouring it all to you. Take this from me. The 5 second rule is so impactful. It's by Mel Robbins, and it's really simple. Say if you had the worst night of your life, right? And you know that you need to get something done. For example, get up and move your body. Rather than lay in bed and wonder, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move, blast off, go. That's it. If you can create this little system in your head of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off, get your feet moving and you go do your thing, whatever that thing is, you are one step closer to pushing through and having massive breakthrough. You see, I have become a mindset expert, not because I wanted to, because I was chosen to. I had to get forged in the fire. But I'm telling you, we're the same. I don't want to do a lot of the things that we have to do, but I do them anyway. And I start with the 5 second rule. And if you know whatever your distractions might be, say it's your phone, say it's whatever that is, put your phone somewhere else. If your phone is keeping you up at night, it needs to be charged downstairs. If you have problems at the computer where you're working too much or you're just doing too much, get a stand-up computer with a walking treadmill. It'll get you off. I'm telling you, at the end of the day, eliminate your distractions, but first you have to identify them. So I can't stress this enough. The theme of Liftoff is breakthrough. It's creating the greatest year of your life. But Goggin says it best, way better than I ever could. It unlocks a secret doorway in the mind that leads to both peak performance and beautiful silence. Let me give you an example. So you all know that singer Adele. Whether you love her or hate her, that's a whole different discussion. But you know Adele, the infamous picture of her having all these Grammys and incredibly beautiful voice. Like I've never heard anything like it. It's so important that you realize on this call that if you are struggling and if you are going through stuff, that you know it's happening for you, exactly like it's supposed to. You see, Adele spent a large majority of her career with no hits, with figuring out that she's just not talented enough. She was just uninspired. But something incredible happened. She got pain, like real pain. Like her husband came to her and said, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm with somebody else type of pain. You know what that did? That brought her back to the lab. That brought her back to the studio. That brought her back to a place where she could harness that, where she didn't have to fall victim to it, but she can fall into a place to where she can get creative and inspired. She went into that studio and created hit after hit after hit. And that led to that infamous moment where she's holding all of these Grammys. I think it's like 8 of them. You see, pain is a beautiful thing. It's disguised as a huge problem, but I'm telling you, it's happening like it's supposed to. Your job is to be able to grab it and they make it and use it as fuel to the fire. Telling you, that's where the breakthrough happens. As we move forward, guys, it's so important that you catch this. Everything that I've accomplished in my life, it's because I've done the things that technically scared me. But you see, here's the beautiful thing. If you're on this call and you're having some sort of issues with employees, we all do. If you're having some sort of issue with customers, we all do. Maybe it's partners, maybe it's vendors. Rather than have your mindset say, why? Why is this always happening to me? What you do is you flip off your emotions like a light switch. You realize you be objective, not subjective. When you operate out of objectivity in business, the sky's the limit. But if you're always in your emotions, you're always in your head, poor me mindset, you'll never really achieve what you want to achieve. I'm telling you that from experience. I could be a lot further if I didn't spend the first part of my journey as an entrepreneur feeling bad for myself. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to achieve the impossible, maybe you want a 7 and 8 figure coding business today, service business today, just know it's a little bit of a distance away, right? Be objective about it. But the secret is doing all of the things that scare you. I'm telling you, giving the big estimates, hiring the employees that you feel might be overqualified, that might just attach themselves to your business and skyrocket. Do the thing all the time. So an example is a kid from the streets, right? With no real upbringing or formal education. Somehow I said, one day I'm going to write a book. And I wrote that book. And I wrote that book when my wife almost lost her life. And I had to stay home for 1 year. And I couldn't even go to the office. But I stayed home. You see how I keep saying the same thing? Your systems will remove chaos. If you build a systematized business, you won't be a slave to your business. I stayed home for a year while my business had a record-breaking year. But during that time, I harnessed my pain. I didn't say poor me. I made sure my wife went to bed, my kid went to bed, and then I started writing. And then I started writing and writing. Before you know it, I ended up writing a bestseller. No intentions. And I didn't even do it for that. All I know is that there was a message that I had to put out there and it stuck. Whatever those dreams are in your mind, write them out. Whatever those things might be, you got to identify them and then do the scary things along the way. And it's right there for your taking. You know, Arnold says it best, but you can't have results and excuses. You can't have it. So that's why I have it listed there. So now that you have your personal life somewhat on a map, if you will, I want to give you a blueprint of how I've scaled businesses. If you're with me, drop the word Liftoff in the comments. So remember this. When I was coaching people every single day of my life, the secret was simplifying it, building it through a maps perspective, marketing, admin, production, and sales. That's it. That's all that business is. You just change out the widget. So say if you want to have an HVAC business, well, you have to market it. You have to do the admin, right? Got to manage the CRM, answer the calls, handle the finances. Then there's the production of the work. And then there's the sales side. Say you want to sell something online. It's the same thing. You have to market it, figure out the admin component, produce it, and sell it. It's just swapping out the widget, whatever that widget might be. And in this case, it's a service business. So let's make sure that you understand from a service perspective how to really scale it up. So here's some examples for you. So rather than just have a business that has Google ads running and Facebook ads, build out a marketing calendar a year ahead of time. Make sure that you know it's the first week in January. You go back to your CRM, you see when most of your business comes in, when it slows down, understand the trends of your business. But most importantly, figure out how to project to never have a dip again. And incredible CRMs like DripJobs is going to do just that for you, where you're able to see the decline in business, but you know what? What an opportunity to come in and inject text message marketing to flatten out the curve, or email blasts, or ringless voicemail. If you just see your stuff from a systematized perspective, you can flatten the curve. And from experience, you can actually turn those slower months to your busiest months. It's a wonderful time to get repeat customers back in the game. But you can do that if you see your marketing calendar a year ahead of time. So it's so special that this event is happening right now. You got to build out your brand. You have to know your avatar. I'm going to give you a sheet in the next slide that's really going to help you understand how to really identify your avatar. And at the end of the day, once you understand your avatar, you can pummel ads to them. You can pummel offers, value. You can give them whatever you need. But first, you have to understand who you want to sell to. And as you start to roll down, you can take a screenshot of this. You can start to see, this is where my mind is at. If you can build a business that's completely systematized, I'm going to say that again. If you can build a business that's completely systematized, you will walk away from your business. You can walk away if a tragedy comes. If you want to walk away, I mean, it's on the option is up to you. Now, I'm talking about, and I give you a screenshot here, just a couple of little things. But if you can build systems all the way from filling up the gas tank and how you do it in your company, all the way to the actual production of the coding and the review generation process, every single thing, your business, you can now build those SOPs, hand them off to somebody, and you can start to find the best CEO or president, whoever that might be, to stick to the script. And if somebody veers off and they're not following the systems and processes that you put in place, fire them. Find somebody better. Find the next killer out there that's willing to not only follow the script, but figure out how to optimize it, because business is always evolving. Such a beautiful lesson that I learned. That's how you build your businesses to scale. Take this avatar sheet, guys. This right here has helped so many people in the past when they were just like, I don't know how to grow my business. Well, it's easy to turn on Google ads. It's easy to turn on Facebook ads. But to really hit them with precision, you need to understand who these people are, where they play, where they operate, where their head's at. And then once you realize where they are, go get them. Throw the bullseye on them and go. But first, grab this, scan the QR code, and take it, set it in motion. This right here is a document system that I've spent over 20 years of my life working on. Remember, my skill set is marketing and mindset. And from a marketing perspective, these are the growth engines, I like to call them, that work in the home service business. There's 67, I believe, in this sheet, from Google Ads to SEO to Google My Business or Google Business Profile, all the way to the Nextdoor app and anything and everything in between that works. Scan this QR code, jump onto this, and download this. So here's the thing. This gets you a huge head start. Talk about value. Took a long time for me to create these, but if you can just test out what works in Google Business Profile, how often is it being optimized? Is there a documented process for it? And any little notes, print these papers out, take them to Office Depot, right? Print them out, put them in a folder, and now you have your online and offline marketing system documented. Hire somebody, make that person accountable to it, one step closer to an automated business, my friends. So I've come to realize, and Tanner, once I'm 10 minutes out, bro, let me know. I want to make sure I don't go over. I've come to realize
6 minutes left, brother.
6 minutes. All right, cool. So here's the thing. When you if you really want to coast, right, and you want to head to the next level, you have to understand it is who you surround yourself with. It's so important because you've now done the hard work of building your personal side, starting to grow your professional side through systems, and different efforts are going to help you scale. Now, my friends, it's time to coast. And there's a couple tips left. But the way you coast is you hang out with people that are levels above you. You figure out how to attach yourselves to them, right? There was a moment I remember looking up to Tommy Mello and saying, man, one day I just want to have a friend like that. But, because he inspires me to dig deeper and blah, blah, blah. Before you know it, I built a top 20 list. I put him on my top 20 list. I stayed in touch. We were strangers. 5, 10 years later, he's an excellent friend of mine. I love this guy to death. Somehow, he contributed to my book. He's just like a beautiful human. But you know what? It's because I identified who I wanted to be around. I didn't just lift off and land anywhere. I lifted off. I figured out how to coast. I figured who I wanted to assimilate and be around. Guys, be a value provider. Don't just go and try to hang out and do different things with different people. Offer them value. If you have somebody that you have in your top 20 list, a tip for you, figure out how to offer them something that they need. If you do that, watch how fast their walls go down. Hey, I got a lead for you here. Hey, I got some business for you. Wall comes down, relationship moves. And as I start to close this out, it's so important that you realize why I'm here is to turn my mess into a message. Give back. Figure out how to use your business, your beautiful engine that you've created, to do so much good in this world. Be a mission-driven leader. Build a giving back page on your website. Figure out how to get your employees involved. It's a great way to grow your social media so you don't have to constantly think about it. But to me, it's doing God's work in business. It's taking this mission that you got from above and saying, mission understood, because it's not just about you. Remember, things are bigger than you. Show up for God, show up for yourself, and show up for the ones you love most. Show up in the comments if you just caught what I just said. Show up in the comments if you caught what I just said. Grab this. You can grab an example of my giving back page. Go to my website. You can see what I mean. You'll never have a hiring problem again. Employees realize that you do a lot more than just coding services. So guys, this is my system for the documenting the giving back. Grab this, take a screenshot, document it, set it in motion. Once you have your list down, you're one step closer to that automated business. And as we start to close this out, remember this, my friends. You want to land in the right area. You want to land at your record-breaking year. You have to take action on everything we just talked about. Don't worry about being perfect. Take action across the board and make sure that you just realize it's part of a growth mindset. Don't let this come and go. I've given you everything I had to take my mess, turn it into a message, but most importantly, inspire you. Guys, if you want to know where I'm at today, I'm focused on my pillars, the things that matter to me. I'm building my businesses. I'm no longer in the struggle. I still have my challenges like everybody. But it's so important that you know if you want it bad enough, you can break through.
It's 280.
Alive and grateful, guys, and I'm God's hands and feet on the ground. That's my mission here. So I'll tell you right here, if you need me for anything ever comes up or you're struggling, that's my personal cell phone number. Message me. I want to be here for you because at my lowest moments, that's what I needed, just somebody to be there. And then that's a copy of my book. For everybody that's part of Liftoff, if you want a copy of my book, DM me. You can find me on Facebook, wherever. Got my contact info below. But that's my gift to you. I want to give you everything I got. I'll figure out how to get it in your hands. But it's an honor to be here for you guys. Much love, and I hope you have the greatest year in business. Let's go.
Dude, exactly how I thought this would go. This is awesome, man. John, thank you so much, guys. I got time for one question. I love the interactive questions. So if you want to talk to John, just ask a quick question. I got time for one. So just raise your hand and I can actually pull you up here to ask the question. So Ricardo was first. So I'm gonna give Ricardo a shot here. Ricardo, ask away, brother.
Thank you, guys. This is amazing. All what I want to ask you, Johnny, is how you divide the faith and the work. How you can be a perfect leader and don't go against your faith and your belief.
That's so good, man. What a question. I'll tell you right now. Whenever I get caught in the, first of all, I'm going to start by saying this. Before we got on this call, before I got here, I prayed for Tanner. I prayed for Eli. I prayed for everybody on this call. Because I practice what I preach. I literally want to make sure everybody has a blessed time on this call and they get so much from it. And then I tell myself, in my tough moments, I start with prayer, my meetings with my team. I always say, if it's not aligned with who I am, if it's not aligned with my faith, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I always make every decision kind of support. Is this something that I'm doing in faith? Here's a tip for you I want to give to you that I learned not long ago from a mentor of mine. If you walk around and just pretend that there's God, is God in disguise, you're going to treat the world a lot differently, right? The cashier at your grocery store, your employee that you work with, if you understand how special that human is, you always make the right decision.